everyone, this is Laura. I'm the CEO of VMV Hypoallergenics. We're here to save the world's skin with the safest, most proven effective care on the planet. And how we do that is by allergen emission primarily. We take all or as many as possible of the top contact allergens as published by independent research groups and specialists, and we omit them. We remove them from our formulations. We have a validated hypoallergenic rating system, the VH rating system. We were the first to come out with it. My mom invented it in the 80s, and we're still the only brand that has a grading system of sorts for allergen emission and hypoallergenicity. And how it works is a little like an SPF in the sense that you can see it very quickly on the front of all of our products. And you'll see, for example, if it says VH minus 109 over 109, that means validated hypoallergenic minus all 109 allergens over 109 allergens. If there were an allergen included, the number would be lower, like VH minus 108 or 107, and there would be an asterisk. And on the ingredients list, you'd see the allergen that's included with an asterisk and underlined, so you can quickly see if it's an allergen that you patch tested positive for, because it is highly unlikely that you would patch test positive for all 109 allergens. The VH rating system has proven so effective that we have a clinical study published in a leading contact dermatitis journal showing less than 0.1% reactions in over 30 years. So very safe. And in terms of efficacy, we publish our clinical studies. It's kind of a big deal to get one clinical study published in a peer-reviewed journal. And thanks to my mother, who is our founding dermatopathologist, we have over 80 or so. You can shop our products internationally at vmvhypoallergenics.com and in the Philippines at vmvhypoallergenics.ph. And don't forget to follow our blog, vmvinskin.com. Has a lot of Skintel on there. And please like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for a lot of content. And please don't forget to comment with your ideas. What did you think? Was this helpful? Certainly any questions that you have. We're big into answering your questions. Speaking of which, today I'll be doing another skin installment of Ask A Skintellectual, where we basically answer your questions that we get from you, primarily on Instagram, but sometimes on our other platforms as well. The first question is from Alain. What is the best treatment product for rosacea? I'd answer this by saying our Red Better line, because rosacea is really multifactorial. It can be caused by a few things, some genetic, like having more hyperreactive skin, more cathelicidins, more, say, Demodex mites can sometimes play into this, and exposomes like foods we eat, stress, strong emotions, heat, sun, a lot of things play into rosacea, and certainly it can be triggered or worsened by irritants and allergens, right? Anything that causes a reaction or an inflammation to occur. So our Red Better line, very importantly, is allergen-free. I've seen some rosacea treatments that do have antioxidants and anti-inflammatories, but also have a lot of top contact allergens. Red Better does not. It is also packed with a lot of anti-inflammatories. Potassium azelloyl diglycinate is a great one. It's an anti-cathelicidin. It's got lots and lots of antioxidants. It's got virgin coconut oil that is anti-inflammatory, barrier repair, occlusive, lovely. Monolaurin is also anti-inflammatory and can maybe help with some of the balance of the microbiome that needs to be in the skin. On top, so Red Better comes with a cleanser, a daily cleanser, a daily moisturizer. It has a calm the heck down balm for like when my rosacea flares and I get the flaking and the redness. It's very, very helpful. It's so good you can even use it as an alternative to reaching for a topical steroid, because you don't want to be using topical steroids every day, really any longer than like a few days a year, if you're practicing prevention properly. And Red Better also has a spot corrector, which is, unlike other spot correctors, far less drying or irritating, which is important for the papules that we tend to see in rosacea. On top of that, I would recommend Armada Baby 50 plus, or really Armada Post Procedure 50 plus, because Armada Post Procedure is a purely physical, more correctly called inorganic sunscreen. Titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, fantastic for indoor and outdoor protection. Great for rosacea. It's also very subtly tinted green with mineral pigments, no dyes. So it can help cancel out some of the redness. Okay. The next question is, my 9-year-old kid is experiencing eczema. What VMV product is safe to use? Our allergen-free products like Essence Skin Saving, Clark Wash, Conditioner, Grandma Mini products are wonderful as well. Allergen-free, very, very gentle, anti-inflammatory, barrier repair. We have a wonderful regimen for eczema, actually, on vmvinskin.com. It's for babies, but it would apply to children as well. I also did a video on eczema to sort of explain what that is. It's really atopic dermatitis and the many, many, many things that can be done to really keep it in control. Top there is to get a patch test to really make sure that prevention is very targeted, because it really helps to avoid all the allergens that your daughter is sensitive to, and to really focus on barrier repair, barrier repair, barrier repair. In that video, I also share a nice technique of an overnight hydration occlusive treatment, especially when a flare is percolating. And definitely the goal is to practice prevention and barrier repair well enough so that she hardly ever needs steroids, except for emergencies. The next question is, my skin is drier as the day goes by. What can I do? The first step is to try to identify what might be causing the dryness. Remember, dryness is often used, I think, incorrectly, because sometimes people think, well, my skin's just dry. Fair, maybe it is. But dryness can also be a sign of irritation, a subtle irritation, a latent irritation that's developing. So we would always recommend allergen-free hair and body products. As the day goes by, I don't know where you live, Niluja, but if it's very dry weather, like you're in the winter, and you're exposed a lot to the cold, or you're indoors and there's a lot of heaters, for example, or you're in a very hot country and you happen to spend a lot of time outdoors in the sun, that can certainly dry skin out over a day, or air conditioning indoors. But there's a fairly good chance that there might be irritants or allergens at play here, in which case we'd recommend what we call a 7-day skin fast, where you stop all products for about 7 days, except maybe our virgin coconut oil to cleanse the skin, and just to get the skin back to ground zero, to baseline, and then slowly introduce products again, one by one. Thriftland is asking, I have tiny little black dots on my nose. So what we always say is steer clear of comedogens and allergens. Comedogens, I think a nice myth to debunk all the time is that if I use something once, I get acne the next day. It takes a while. So comedones are formed by comedogens clogging the pore, and it takes time to build up that clog. But allergens can also cause acne by irritating the pore, causing inflammation, potentially infection. But in terms of just black dots, also check for hyperpigmented pores, which people don't tend to talk about. You can do prevention with our Essence hair, body, and bath care line. So shampoo, conditioner, a facial cleanser from our Super Skin Care line. And a nice sort of combined regimen would be Super Skin Care or ID, plus the Illuminance regimen, and then an Armada sun and light screen. We have a nice video on dark spots, actually, a combined regimen for dark spots that you can check out. The next question is whiteheads on chin. So it's important to identify the causes and to stay away from them. Whiteheads are a little more difficult because they can be confused for a bunch of things. Anything from halogen acne to milia to acne to other conditions, truly. So if it's very stubborn, we would recommend a dermatological consultation to accurately identify what it is. It could even be a fungal condition. So best to know exactly what it is. Our allergen-free toothpaste, Essence Skin Saving Toothpaste, would probably be helpful no matter what the diagnosis is. So we would recommend that, as well as gentler skincare that is non-comedogenic and has no allergens. Next question. I have consulted doctors regarding maskne, but still it's always recurring. Please suggest a good product. Okay, so maskne can be many, many things. If you're already talking to a dermatologist, be patient because maskne is a relatively new condition, right, that we're dealing with. And maskne can be so many things. It can be clogged pores, for sure. It can be inflammation from the friction of the material. It can be halogen acne from your toothpaste, fluoride in your toothpaste, but also from chlorine in the bleaches that you're using to disinfect your home that waft up, right? That can definitely be an issue. It can be Demodex mites. It can be Malassezia folliculitis. It can be a bunch of things. And we've even had experiences here with doctors where it wasn't any of those things. And it turned out to be, like Malassezia or Demodex, a normal bacteria that lives happily in our skins normally, but for some reason, because this person happened to be taking certain drugs, really kind of went on overdrive and was a real problem. And they had to do a specific scraping and really analyze what bug was in play. So I would be a bit patient with your doctor. Go back, don't hop too much from doctors to doctors, and see if you can get a scraping, get more tests to make sure what it is, a culture, or get a second opinion. Any good doctor will be fine with you getting a second opinion. You have to be comfortable with your doctor. In addition to that, we have a great video on maskne that sort of goes through all the possibilities that, as of now, that we know that could be causing it, and really great tips on how to lessen maskne. I will put a link for it in the description for sure. This is a question we've gotten a lot of, and I think it's very fair and fitting for us to answer. Why are we so out of stock of so many products? The simple answer is the pandemic, but let me get into that a little bit to try to really share what we and so many companies are going through. The pandemic resulted in several lockdowns, and this affected obviously our retail sales, but also affected our ability to manufacture our products. Unlike some skincare and cosmetic brands, we don't actually outsource our manufacturing. We do it all in-house with our own manufacturing company so that we can control very well the conditions of our manufacturing. So for example, we don't mix our products in vats that are used to mix products with allergens or fragrance, right? During lockdowns, we weren't allowed to manufacture. And even when we were, because we do produce essentials like monolaurin, virgin coconut oil, some products with alcohol, it's still not the same level of production that we were allowed to pursue. So this really reduced our capacity to produce products. In addition to that, however, what might not be so obvious is our poor suppliers are going through exactly the same thing. They're also going through a very big shipping crisis that has really affected their ability to get raw materials, ingredients, and packaging to clients like us. So everyone's really been hit, and it's extremely frustrating. And definitely we know in our bones how our products aren't just wants and are often real needs. So what I can promise you is we have no other priority. Every resource, every person is focusing on getting stocks back. Please make sure that you are subscribed to our email newsletters on vmvhypoallergenics.com or vmvhypoallergenics.ph, because we always announce when stocks are back, especially a favorite product, and they tend to go very quickly. Make sure, please, you're subscribed to our email lists and chat platforms, which we'll be launching more of as we go to help people know when there's stocks. Thank you for your patience, and I am sorry very deeply, and I promise, we are absolutely 120% focusing just on getting our stocks back for you. I wanted to share, as part of Ask A Skintellectual, we offer a really nice service where we can customize recommendations for you based on your patch test and possible cross-reactants. And I wanted to share, this is confidential, but I'll share just the allergens of someone that we have received this request from, because it's a lot. And we get, sometimes we'll get patch test results that are like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different allergens, but this happened to be one of the longer ones, and this person was, getting desperate. So I wanted to share that with you. This person's patch test showed that they patch tested positive for balsam of Peru, top allergen nickel sulfate, Fragrance, linalool, ammonium persulfate, gold sodium thiosulfate, glycerol monothioglycolate, dodecyl gallate, benzoic acid, sodium benzoate, shellac, cinnamyl alcohol, oak moss absolute, isoeugenol, carvone, sodium metabisulfate, red and yellow food dye. What's interesting here is some of those are actually in one fragrance mix, but they listed it separately, which is actually really healthy. And basically, this person, after we did an analysis of all those allergens, can use pretty much everything that we make. There are some possible exceptions that we listed. One is our mascara, because it does contain beeswax that can potentially cross-react with balsam of Peru and propolis. But we've had 0 reports of negative reactions to our mascara since its launch, I think in 2006, something like that, a long time ago. We've had 0 reactions to our mascara, even for people who patch test positive to some allergens that are in it, in part because it is a tubing mascara. So it's a great product. It's a bestseller for a reason. We also mentioned some other products to have a little bit of caution with. The reason being that certain makeup shades, for example, have trace amounts of nickel or cobalt in the raw material, but we're being extra cautious here. In patch tests, nickel is included at 2.5% or 25,000 ppm, parts per million. And in some of our makeup shades with iron oxides, even in the shade with the highest concentration of, say, pure black, right? The trace amount of nickel there is less than 89 parts per million versus 25,000. So it's a big difference. And other shades are much lower at 0.04 parts per million. So we're being extra cautious, but we'll disclose that anyway, because even though the chances of reaction are extremely low because these concentrations are so much lower than anything you'd see in a typical patch test, for example, it's wiser for us to disclose that, and then you can work with your dermatologist to try this product out very slowly and see if it works for you. Chances are it will, but if you don't know that, if we don't disclose that, then you're trying stuff blind, and we don't like that. So definitely let us know if you're struggling to find products even after having a patch test result. Contact us, vmvhypoallergenics.com, and we can help customize recommendations for you. And that's how detailed we get. Final question for this week. I have spots in my underarm like prickly heat. Have not been using deodorant lately. Will this help? Okay, a little bit of a pause there, because prickly heat, I think is one of those things that people tend to maybe confuse for other things. But prickly heat is very tiny, densely scattered dot-like red spots. Right? That's prickly heat. In miliaria, rubra, and prickly heat, the initial sort of prickly sensation sometimes becomes like bubbles later, right? Sometimes there's itching also. The thing is, it can be confused for other things like a contact dermatitis or a keratosis pilaris, so it could be quite a few things. We would recommend an accurate diagnosis just to make sure it is what it is. Certainly our allergen-free skincare would be helpful, washing the area, our allergen-free antiperspirant as well. Probably also to keep the sweating under control, immunolaryngeal might work, but we would definitely recommend first arranging a consultation with a doctor to take a really good look at what the condition is, make a more accurate diagnosis. Thank you again for submitting your questions. I hope I got through a bunch of them this week. I will be doing more of these Ask A Skintellectual videos. You can submit your questions. Every week we post a question sticker on Instagram stories at VMV Hypoallergenics. You can certainly ask us questions by private message if you prefer on our Facebook platforms. And in the comments here, definitely ask questions. We always check. And certainly let us know anything else that you'd like us to cover. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and to check vmvinskin.com, which is our blog, because we've got loads of content that goes up there all the time. So thank you very much for watching. I really hope you found this helpful. And please do share this if you think it might be helpful to someone else. I'll see you next time. Have a skintastic day. Thank you. Bye.